Hello, Wildman Z here. I figure, I watch a lot of Michael K. Vaughan and Steve Donahue video, and I really love when they do like these comic book reviews. Steve Donahue, in particular, he likes to review a lot of classics and as well as modern literature, and I dig all that. But I really like when he does comic books, as well as Michael K. Vaughan and a few other channels I watch. And so I figured I just would randomly pull out some comic books and pretty much stuff that's sitting by my desk right now that I'm reading at night on and off, along with some literature. I usually read books before I go to bed. This is a really cool series that was reprinted in 2010. This is Dracula. And this is by really a dream team. It's by Roy Thomas and Dick Giordano. And this originally came out in Dracula Lives in the 70s, and I didn't actually read it back then. That was a little bit before 74. I was about 6 or 7. That was before I started reading comics. But this is a reprint. It came out about 10, 15 years ago. I think I had it. I was getting a comic book pull list. The art is beautiful. I don't know if you can see that, but really cool art by Dick Giordano, colored by June Chung. I'm not familiar with her. The covers are new covers, I believe. Here's issue number 2. Get a little glare there. I'm not very professional, and I don't know where number 4 is. 4 is upstairs somewhere, but here's issue number 3. I do have all 4 issues. This is issue number 4 with some demonic eyes, and it's a retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book, and it's very accurate to it, and it's really cool. My comic just fell down again. Very unprofessional. Really well written, beautifully drawn. I love the original Bram Stoker's Dracula. I like the movie with Keanu Reeves that came out back in the day. I like the original connotation of Dracula, the Wallachian prince and all that, and his coming to America and the asylums. It's a well done story, and this is a really great comic. I read it when it came out 15 years ago, which seems like yesterday to me. That's what happened when you get old. But I'm going to reread it again, or read a couple of them. Maybe I won't read the whole thing. I read comics kind of randomly. These are really cool. I got these locally. I had some of these when I was a kid. Some of the comics I lost when I was a kid. Back in the day, there were 2 comic book series that featured 2 of the popular characters teaming up. One was Marvel 2-in-1, which is what I have right here. I always get them backwards. That's with The Thing and somebody else. And then it was Marvel Team Up with Spider-Man and somebody else. And I would say in the late 70s, very early 80s, those were the 2 most popular characters in Marvel. That's about when I started reading comics. And The Thing and Spider-Man were popping up everywhere. Everybody loved the ever-loving Blue-Eyed Thing. Everybody loved Spider-Man. I read the FF. I never really read Spider-Man that much. When I was a kid, I came from a kind of a poor family, and my mother was poor. My father was elsewhere. And so when I got comics, I got 2 or 3 a month maybe. And so I always got teams. So I got the FF and I would get the Avengers. And then later, maybe about a year into it, I got into the X-Men. So I really didn't have the money to get Spider-Man. I was familiar with him from the cartoons and so forth. But Marvel Team Up and Marvel 2-in-1, they would feature those premier characters with somebody else, sometimes a minor character, like there's the Black Goliath and Captain America in the background. It's really a 3-in-1 in this case. I've read that. It's a really fun issue. These I got locally, I think a couple of years ago at a yard sale or actually there's a barber shop in my town that has comic books in the back. I think I got it there, but these are not expensive. You can go out to Mile High and get them for a couple bucks each, and I tell you, they'll be 10 times fun or anything you read these days. This is a good issue with the High Flying Angel. Angel's really cool. Angel's this guy. He's original X-Man. He flies. That's it. They never give him any cool weapons, although I think he is using up a sword there. But he could really be geared up with all sorts of things. I think he has a little bit of enhanced eyesight. They always say he's tough, but he doesn't have any super strength or anything. And he's just flying around. It's like he's kind of vulnerable in my opinion. The guy just flying through the air without any other kind of power. So I love the Angel, though. He's also a billionaire, so that kind of helps. But he never makes any gadgets for himself. So, I haven't read this one. It's got an Impossible Man in it. I'm not sure what's going on here. Never read this, so it'll be kind of cool. These are super fun. I mean, they're fun, usually one issue. Once in a while, they go over maybe in a couple issues, 1 or 2 shots. But there's MODOK on there. Who's that in the background? MODOK and must be some robotic being. Oh, the Submariner's teaming up with with the Thing there. They often fight against each other. Submariner's really tough. Thing's really tough. I'd say they're about. I would think the Submariner would win that fight. Submariner is up there with the Hulk and stuff. He's really strong. He can swim. He can fly. He's freaking. I think he can command sea life a little bit. I mean, he's definitely a tough character in Marvel. Last one I'll show you for now. Which issue is this? This is the big 500th issue of Action Comics. I'm not a DC guy, although I respect DC. You know, I think DC is solid, and I think I got this about 2 years ago. I was listening to Steve Donahue, and he said he had like the list of the greatest Superman comics, and this was listed as either number 1 or number 2 or something like that. I went to Mile High. It was $8 or $10 or something reasonable, and I tell you what. I don't know. I've only read maybe in my life 30, 40 Superman comics. I'm not an expert on Superman or action. But it was a really good story. It was one of the stories I really liked with Superman, and I forgot, maybe it was Alan Moore wrote it. It was the Black Lotus story. That's a really good one I have as well. But this is another one that's excellent story. He retells basically his origin, which everybody knows, but it was very introspective and kind of touching in places. So I really liked it. I thought it was an awesome comic, and I think Steve Donahue put it on his list of the best Superman stories ever. And again, I'm not a good judgment, but it was a great story, and I loved it just like I love a Marvel story. DC's definitely different, especially back in the day. And Steve Donahue and a couple other people critique it like the DC fans usually say they like the classic style of DC. The DC characters classically, I think it's different these days. They didn't have like personality issues and conflicts with, inner turmoil and stuff. They had like fun adventures. You know what I mean? Like goofy fun adventures. And a lot of people love that in comics. Sometimes you want to get away from real world. Marvel had a lot of pathos right from the get-go. I mean, the Fantastic Four, the Thing's mutated. He feels bad about himself. The X-Men are freaks. With the Avengers, you got Iron Man's got a heart problem. They used to have that as a big motif. Thor's kind of, he's kind of confused. He's going between dimensions. I'd say Thor's kind of like a DC character. He's kind of classic. But the rest of them all have issues. Captain America's a man out of time. And he got some real issues, like Daredevil's blind. Spider-Man's living at home he's like 40, So the DC guys are much more classical. So I always liked Marvel because I got hooked on Marvel when I was a kid. And I think that's really what it comes down to. But at any rate, as time goes on, I really wish DC would have a good reprint series, because I'd love to have something like Epic or whatever in DC to read back things. I think they're starting to do like facsimiles. I picked up a couple of them right before I left. I'm in New York now. I live in Vermont as well. I picked up a few, and I think I read Sergeant Rock that was from the 50s. That would be a great idea. They got a lineage. It's great. Well, at any rate, I'll throw a few comics in my videos, because I don't have many people watching these videos, and I just feel like talking about stuff for 10 minutes or so. So I'll put up some more comics. I got a lot of boxes of them. Most of them aren't that valuable, but they're fun, goofy books, and I enjoy them. Have a good night or good day wherever you're at. Wild Man Z out. Take care.